Just a terrifying mid-air close call, very close call, under investigation right now involving a B-52 bomber and a passenger jet. This in the skies over North Dakota. The pilot for SkyWest, which is a Delta regional carrier, says he was forced to make a hard turn to avoid colliding with a massive bomber after being cleared for approach by the control tower. And there's told it was okay.
Yeah, there's video of this captured, or at least part of the flight of the B-52 bomber captured by someone in the crowd at the State Fair. It shows it doing a flyover at about the same time as SkyWest Flight 3788 was landing in the city of Minot. The Air Force confirms the flyover, says it is looking into the matter. A passenger on the SkyWest flight spoke with CNN today, describing the moment the plane turned sharply.
It was such a hard U-turn to where we were going kind of straight and then went pretty sideways. I'd be looking out the window and just see straight grass. I wouldn't be seeing the horizon anymore because we were so sideways.
That passenger, Monica Green, also recorded the pilot's announcement when they landed safely. Here it is.
Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't give us a heads up, because the Air Force Base does have radar, and nobody said, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pad or anything. Long story short, it was not fun, but I do apologize for it, and thank you for understanding.
Joining us now, CNN transportation analyst, former Inspector General for the Department of Transportation, Mary Schiavo. Mary, always good to have you in these circumstances. And it's interesting listening to that pilot's recording because he actually gives a lot of information, including that the tower gave him no warning about a giant B-52 going quite close, it seems, to a approach on a civilian airport. I mean, does that make any sense to you that you would have a flyover for an air show that close to a passenger airport?
No, but in a nutshell, in a few seconds, that has summarized the problem that's faced at a lot of aviation locations around the country. You've got military operations and civilian operations, and there are two sets of actors. First of all, we'll go with the communications side. You've got the commercial jet, which was handed off from air traffic control for approach from Minneapolis. It contacted the tower and it got clearance to land. That says it owns that airspace. That's what it means in aviation parlance. But then you've got this military plane doing the flyover, and their military base is just north of the civilian aircraft, but they weren't talking to the civilian tower. Hopefully they were talking to their own military controllers, but the two of them never communicated. Then we go to the equipment side. Yes, one plane could see the other if they're similarly equipped and if they have the equipment to be able to see each other. And we've talked a lot about, since the DCA midair, of something called ADSB, the Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. But if both planes don't have it, for example, the military plane may not have had it, and may not have had it turned on. Even if it did, it has different equipment. So then the planes can't communicate either. And this is a problem that has been repeated many times over, not just at the DCA midair. There was one in South Carolina where a military airport is also a civilian airport. We had a midair 10 years ago here.
And this is a time, obviously, Mary, when there needs to be a sensitivity to how military aircraft are operating around passenger planes after what happened here in D.C. not long ago. But then even after that Black Hawk ran into that jet here in Washington, you saw other questionable incidents involving another helicopter. And I just wonder if you think that there has been the reckoning that needs to happen when it comes to this issue.
That's what's so shocking. I would have thought that the DCA midair was the biggest wake-up call, in the last 2 decades, because it's a terrible, terrible tragedy, the worst we've had in over 2 decades. But they still don't seem to be coordinating. And I wish the two secretaries, the Transportation and Defense, would lay down the law each to the other. But, unfortunately, with the lack of communication with different systems on the aircraft, with different communication systems, and with the pilots not hearing the same communications, same problem in DCA. The pilots did not hear the communications of each other. So when a military aircraft is in that civilian airspace, particularly when a plane has been given clearance to land, They own that airspace. It's just inexcusable. And this is just too many close calls. And like I said, that DCA should have been the wake up call of the century.
Yeah, and a flyover is not actually necessary, right? You know, it's not like necessary military ops. It's a good thing, but that raises another question.
Time for Pete Hegseth and Sean Duffy to have lunch, I think. Mary, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. CNN's Brian Todd here with more details on it. What are you learning, Brian?
Well, guys, you saw that video that we just got into CNN of that B-52 doing the flyover of the North Dakota State Fair on Friday night. That's what it was doing. And the Air Force just sent us a statement a short time ago basically admitting to such. Here is the text of the Air Force's statement. We are aware of the recent reporting regarding commercial and Air Force aircraft operating in airspace around Minot International Airport. We are currently looking into the matter. We can confirm that a B-52 aircraft assigned to Minot Air Force Base conducted a flyover of the North Dakota State Fair on Friday evening. And to further set the scene for everybody now, this was this past Friday, July 18th. It was SkyWest Flight 3788. That's the commercial jet involved in this, operating as a Delta connection flight between Minneapolis, Minnesota and Minot, North Dakota. The incident happened, the plane was approaching Minot, which is also home to an Air Force base, which is only about 10 miles away from the commercial airport there. The pilot had to make a hard U-turn. According to the pilot himself, he had to make a hard U-turn to avoid colliding with a B-52 bomber during this incident. The pilot told passengers that the tower asked him to report when he was about 6 miles from the airport. And after being in communication with the air traffic control tower, the pilot said he turned right, and that's when he saw the military aircraft right on the right-hand side of his aircraft, and then the air traffic controller told him to turn left. He said he could tell by the speed of the other aircraft that it was a military plane. And afterward, the pilot, in kind of a chillingly matter-of-fact way, explained what had happened to the passengers and apologized.
Sorry about the aggressive maneuver. It caught me by surprise. This is not normal at all. I don't know why they didn't give us a heads up, because the Air Force Base does have radar, and nobody said, hey, there's also a B-52 in the pattern. Long story short, it was not fun, but I do apologize for it, and thank you for understanding.
That pilot got a round of applause from people in the cabin right after he said that. Here are some critical things, though, that we do not know at this hour. We do not know how close these two aircraft got to each other. We do not know whether they were actually on a collision course or not, and we do not know what the air traffic controller actually said. And guys, SkyWest Airlines issued us a statement saying that that flight did land safely at Minot. We have to emphasize that, and they are investigating this.
I'm thinking, if I'm on that plane, why is a flyover at a state fair by a giant military aircraft allowed to happen close to a passenger airport?
I think that is going to be the key question that will be asked and hopefully answered here. But you've got this broader issue, and we've seen this earlier this year in January. You had that collision of the passenger jet with the military helicopter near Reagan National Airport right here. You had a close call a couple of weeks after that, I believe it was a couple of weeks later, with that military jet doing a flyover of Arlington National Cemetery. And now you've got this in Minot. I mean, they clearly have not resolved issues with deconflicting military and commercial passenger planes. And that incident on Friday was a very close call.
I wouldn't know about it if the pilot hadn't, with quite a lot of clarity.
His handling of it and his demeanor, extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really, I think, a hero.
Yeah, his announcement with so much detail.
So understated, right?
To the passengers. Brian Todd, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.